Hello, everybody. God bless you. Welcome today, Pastor Rick, to our books and brunch. We are about to get crazy here. They are smacking and eating all around me, and I'm glad you're with us. We are going to get it cranked up here in just a second. I hope you got to get your snack. Go to your refrigerator and get your snack, and get ready for your time with us. We are really, really excited about what we're studying today, and I'm going to borrow somebody's book. Let me borrow your book. Yeah, your book's close. Let me just borrow it real quick. There you go. And there you go. We got people that are going to be walking around you because that's all families. That's books and brunch. If you was here, you would know. The Pharisees. It's called Larry Osborne. We cut the music down, please. Larry Osborne's Accidental Pharisee, Avoiding Pride, Exclusivity, and the Other Dangers of Overzealous Faith. It's really a good read. Wonderful book. And I've lived this book. And so we will talk about it for sure. I hope if you have questions. Now come on in, Ms. Bishop. How can they get that? How are they going to reach us now? If they have a question, they can send the email to who? Tell us, Brian.
Right just put the.
We got it. All right. Hey, Yolanda, how you doing?
Oh,
Yolanda's on. That's right. Okay, it's on streaming platform, so you can see it all. All right. So while everybody's getting seated, so remember they're gonna come on in and come on, walk in front of the camera, walk around. It's all family. It's all good, and so it's gonna be great. I want to thank you for being with us today. And I'm going to jump right in this, and I'm going to have a ball. I'm going to give you this book back, if you can come get it for me, because I can't go too far. Here you go. Take that. God bless you, my brother. We have, I want to just walk through the various parts of the book first, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to entertain what part spoke to you. That's how we do it here. And so, first of all, let's start with finding my glasses, and then we're going to jump right in. It's called Accidental Pharisee. Now, the term Pharisee is an interesting term and there's something still on. I don't know what that is. There is, oh, that's me echoing. I hear myself. Oh, that's me. Somebody talking while I'm talking. The term Pharisee is not a term that is a bad term. And it's a term. Is that just the computer going to do that? Okay. The term Pharisee is a term that is viewed by us differently than it was in Jesus' day. In Jesus' day, Pharisees were highly respected people. They were highly educated, highly trained. They were the doctors of the day, master's degree folks of the day, scholars of the day. They were tradesmen, professionals. They were considered the most devoted. There were never more than 6,000 of them at one time. So there was this incredible, religious respect they had. But when Jesus came, he really exposed a lot of their issues and talked about some of the things they struggle with. Now, how many of you were involved in a church where you could tell they felt they were spiritually elite? Anybody? I've been involved, right? Okay. So I mean, they heard from God, they talked to God, God favored them. Did you feel like God favored them above other religious people? Anybody been in church like that? Yeah, right. So how did they know? How could you tell? What was it about them that made them feel as if God favored them above everybody else? What was it that made them feel that way? What would it be? I need a mic guy. I can't come get it. Help me out, somebody. Okay. Are you gonna get it? Okay. Pass that. Okay. What was it that made them feel that way?
For me, it was more so the materialistic things, what they could obtain. Sometimes they would say that they were God's favorite. So,
So it's prosperity and things they could obtain. They felt that way, kind of like a word of faith kind of environment. Then,
yes.
very much so. Okay, somebody else, something that you would say, and that made them feel like they were better.
The denomination that they were in. They felt like if you weren't a part of their organization, then you were less than.
And see, understand, I like denominations. I'm still licensed legally with one. International Church of Foursquare Gospel is when I started years ago. That was the group that my school came through that Lighthouse of International Foursquare Evangelism, based in LA. Very international in its reach, and they feel. Matter of fact, I'll do something with them tomorrow. I was with them a couple of weeks ago. In DC. Hey, Foursquare. You know, they tell you. But I love Church of God in Christ. Is anybody been Church of God in Christ? Kojic? Yeah. Now I love the Kojic Church. I absolutely love the Kojic Church. As a matter of fact, when I'm feeling really good, and I want to just play something that's kind of rowdy, and I want to shout a little bit. I have things that I play that remind me of various denominations. But one of the things I like is I like the fact that in certain groups and denominations you find identity. You find a certain sense of I can't get it to work for me now. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. There's this unity. You know, you go there, everybody knows your name, and when you're with them, you know they're special. I mean, they sing alike, they shout alike, they dance alike. It's just powerful, and nothing's working for me today, so you can't hear it. Let me see. Come on, baby. It is. What is? Am I in a dead zone or what? Anyway, but I like the energy. There it is. I like the energy. I mean, I love this song. I play it all the time. And I know the bishops, I know the leaders. You ever heard this? This is the church of God in Christ. Lord have mercy, you've heard it. This is the church. Oh man. And it is the church of God in Christ. It is absolutely phenomenal. And when I've gone to the convention and they play this song, it's rocking. Everybody's, and you got to be church of God in Christ to value it. And I love it. So I'm sorry, but I'm really, I'll play the whole thing. I absolutely adore it. And I think there's an identity that you get in certain groups. So when I was in DC a few weeks ago, a few days ago rather, and it was a convention, and I was asked to speak at one of the workshops, and I've spoken. I've done all the things you do. I've done all the big events. You know, the main night speaker 5-6 times. I've spoken so many times. People, matter of fact, when they see me, they say, "Are you speaking this year?" And I said, "No, I'm not speaking this year." But I have been honored. The board. When I went to LA that time, back and forth, that was Foursquare Church, their biggest, and their flagship church. And so for them to ask me to come and take it over was a big honor. And I said, no, because I want to be with you folks, right? Right. And it's predominantly white, 10% black at the time, still very few black compared to, things. But my point is, there is something about being identified with when you go to your alma mater, your school, when you go to a place. So I don't think denominations are bad, but they do become exclusive. That's what this book talks about. And it's very easy. You can become that way to overcome by faith. We can become very exclusive if we're not careful. Because there are things we do that others don't do, like what? What's exclusive about us? We don't go to church. We don't go to church. We don't have the same schedule. Right. What else? We don't have fundraising campaigns. Not like some churches have fundraising campaigns, right? Because there's some really have it, right? Yeah. Anybody else? Not like yes. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So when you get around another church and you go there and they start late, what do you say? What's happening here? Man, y'all 2 minutes late. Y'all need to get on the stick here. So if we're not careful, we can easily become Pharisaical. We can become critical, judgmental. And I'm not saying that. I love the way when he talks about it in the book, he says, your way is right to you. And if you're not careful when you engage people. So when I go to churches, one of the things that I find people struggle with that they think I'm going to come in and critique them. So I work hard not to do that. Yeah, I rarely would just pop in on the path, just show up, because they'll assume that, and I've had to kind of help them. One even told me he wasn't preaching if I was in the building. No, he wouldn't preach. So I told him I ain't coming back. And I came back and he wouldn't stop. He stopped service. He said, come up here. You got to preach today. And I said, I love you, but I have not been back since, because I felt like, but I understand the pressure. You know, people feel you're successful and they respect you. But I try to communicate is we're not going to be like that. We're not going to be judgmental. So what I'm going to do is work through the deal here and show you. I've got this. I probably want to be a little vain here. Should I be vain? Should I be vain right now? Yeah. Isn't that just a bam? Isn't that just cute? Isn't that just cute? Oh, it went away. All right, come back. Hold on, I'll do it again. Isn't that just something? Oh, God, stop it. Do what I tell you to do. Come on. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, she's a cutie pie. I said, I'm going to put it on here. I rotate them. Damn. Then the other. So I can look at it every now and then. Some of y'all couldn't see. Oh, they couldn't see it. They was upset. I know. Y'all couldn't see that. Come closer, closer. It went out. Okay. So am I looking far away there when I'm way back there? Am I? I need to move up. Not level. I need to come on up. Okay. Let's do that. Let's pull that up on me, so I won't be dragging it. How close do I need to be? I want to make sure you can see me good. It's like a family gap. This is better. Okay. I'm gonna get close to you now. See, bring me closer. Come on closer. There you go. That's why you get young people. Young people with big muscles. They can help you out. All right. Good. Now, let me get back here and say this. Let's pull out our book, and let me go through the parts of the book with you first. And thank you again for being with us online. Appreciate you. And we're having what we call our little family Bible study here around the Word in books. So I want to take you to the parts of the book. Each book has parts. It's one of the great ways to analyze a book. And I always say, who owns the book? Say, I do. Come on, say it. Who owns the book? That means you read it where you want to read it. You start where you want to start. How many of you are start to finish people? Not me. I am kind of like that depending on what I'm doing. But generally speaking, I try to find a place of entrance. I end up being a start to finish person. But I do think it's important to first start with the parts. Here are the 7 parts. Part 1, accidental Pharisee, the dark and dangerous side of overzealous faith. Part 2, pride, when comparison becomes arrogance. Say that with me. Come on. When comparison becomes arrogance. Boy, I can talk a lot about that. Number 3, exclusivity. Thinning the herd becomes more important than expanding the kingdom. When it's all about you, making sure everybody's in alignment. So you'll get rid of a bunch of people. And I hear it in sermons a lot. I hear this in messages. Some of you aren't living right. Get on out of here. I need, you hear this arrogant kind of condescending approach. Fourth, we'll talk about legalism. When sacrifice crowds out mercy. It's all about doing what you're supposed to do every time, and there's no mercy. Part 5, idolizing the past. I love this. When idealism distorts reality. Idealism can distort your sense of reality. You can think you're seeing things properly, but you're not. You have an ideal. Give me some idealism that we have. Well, let me come back to it. I'll come back to it. Okay, part 6, the quest for uniformity, how uniformity destroys unity. I just love that. And part 7, gift projection, when my calling becomes everyone else's calling. Now, Which one of these parts would you say spoke to you the most? Let's start with what you say spoke to you. Let's start with you. Even in the chat, you can type it in. What part of these, which part of the book? I want to see where we found interest before I start my little talk. Where did you find the most interesting for you? What part? Legalism? Okay. Idolizing the past? Okay. Gift projection. Would you give me a pen and a piece of paper, please? Let me write on it. Appreciate it. Which one? What now? Pride. Okay. Idolizing the past. Okay. Quest for uniformity. Legalism. I think legalism is winning so far. Is that it? Okay. Here we go. We're going to start with your favorite parts, your favorite quotes in the book. I have my list, but I always like to hear from you first, so I can kind of understand. I may give one sample for me, and then I'll jump in here and let you talk to me a little bit. Here we go. Thank you so much. And okay, thank you. All right, so let's start with one for me. No one is a natural born. I'm sorry, that's the wrong book. I'm sorry, that's the next book. Sorry. That's I'm finna get way out to your secret. We got a new book coming after this. Hold on, people. Hold on. Tell me while I'm getting my device right. Tell me what's one of yours while I get my device right. Somebody raise their hand and tell me your favorite part of the book. Your favorite part. Do I hear it yet? I'm waiting. Favorite? Okay. All right. They coming. Hold on. Okay, since you can't, my book's right now. Okay. Overzealous faith. Let me start with mine then. Overzealous faith. The dark and dangerous side of overzealous faith. When I first came to Christ as a young believer, I struggled with what I was taught to struggle in sermons with people that were not all in. They were lukewarm. And so in the book, he talks about on page, I want to go all the way to page 17, where he talks about, well, really on page 20. On page 20, he says, but as you press forward, it's inevitable that you begin to notice that some people lag behind. And it's at that point that your personal pursuit of holiness can morph into something dangerous, a deepening sense of frustration with those who don't share your passion and pursuit of holiness. Have you noticed that sometime in our sermons, we tend to talk down the people that are lagging behind rather than pulling them forward? Can anybody relate to that? Have you seen that in sermons? Mm-hmm. And so the messages, the tone, the attitude of the presentation, and it can be the attitude of the church members, is be faithful. You don't come enough. You don't give enough. You don't serve enough. So you sit there and you feel guilty. I need all of you in here to give me. We need to get to another $2,000. I know you have it. I want you to dig down. Now, what normally happens when pastors do that? It gets quiet. Okay, it gets very quiet. People start shutting down. What do you think is happening in their minds? Begging for money, but he's zealous because he's trying to reach a goal, whatever the goal may be, but you don't know what the goal is most of the time. In other words, you don't know why they need another $2,000, right? You don't know why. Sometimes you do want to add on a room or whatever, but the point is, the room says we feel this is too much. So what's the danger in plowing down that road? What happens to you in that moment, to the church in that moment?
Feel like you don't measure up.
Feel like you don't measure up? Okay, what else?
You shut down.
You shut down. But don't you notice that you see people, it's almost like, okay, then Pastor Rick gets up and he gives $1,000. No, praise the Lord, Pastor, right? But then if you're not careful, you have the have and the have-nots, right? And so your overzealous faith, your overzealous effort can turn on you in the long term. What do you think it does in the long term? Because of the way they feel. Tell me how that works in the brain, if you're guessing. The brain says this was a good experience, this was a bad experience, right? So if it's a bad experience, the next time you think about going, you think about how the offering was raised, you think about how you felt, and so you stop participating. And you feel like you're one of those people who's behind. And if you're one of the people that's behind, you feel as if, well, until I catch up, I'm not going. I'll go to church, I'll come to God when I get myself together. You ever heard that before? So a lot of that is fed by this environment. Overzealous believers, people who are sincere, have done more to run young people out of church. Now imagine if you're a young person, right? And you've got a problem with being whatever they define as not acceptable. And so you come in the room and you're not dressed properly. We had an experience years ago, I'll never forget it, in our zealous days as a church. And if you came in and you had something that was too short, we would, pass you a little cloth. Yeah, very colorful cloth, right? And I'm gonna tell you how this was, what helped us with this. A family member helped us with this. A family member came to our church, and she sat on the front row, and her dress was considered a little short. So one of the ushers politely gave her she said, "What is this rag?" And that was her description of it. She says, "This is a rag." She says, "I don't know where this rag has been." She says, it doesn't match my clothing. I dressed myself when I came here. And so if this rag, and that was the end of the rags. That was because of the way she said, she wasn't mean about it. She just simply said, I don't want to come in here and be told that I have to redress because I'm not appropriate. And so sometimes in our zeal, you run into yourself and you realize, man, this is not good. This is not healthy. Can anybody relate to that? Anybody want to comment on that? Okay. Yes, please. Can I get the microphone so we can hear or make sure people online can hear? Right here. Do we need that? Yes, just pass that to you. And then we can make sure that you can hear us online. Go ahead.
When I moved south, I joined my husband's church, and I was a tither.
Mhm.
And every Sunday, the following Sunday, they had to list your names and how much you gave. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah. And when I went back the second Sunday, the next Sunday, and there was this list with how much you had given last Sunday. And I mean, I was just like taken aback, and as I became more familiar with the church and developed a relationship with the pastor, I asked him about it. And he said, I said, I'm not used to that. I said, I was taught tithing. And he said, well, no, if you don't put the list out, they won't give as much because they got to see their name. But it had the reverse effect on me because I was running into people out in the street. Oh, welcome to our church. You pay good. People were making this, this comment, so I wanted to reverse and not give anything because I didn't want my business in the street. So that was really the experience.
That's good. Pastor Derek, that's really great, Pat. Thank you. That's an insightful thought. Get right back there, Steve.
I guess I'd like to hear your take on, to me, you have two things. You have, and I know we're talking about being overzealous, but the balance is, I know I've had experiences where someone, maybe you, it's like, oh, I'm gonna give $1,000 of this. And it had a positive effect on me to like, hey, I can do that now, but do I need to be open to doing that? It was inspirational as more as it was. And then there are people that certain things that they do in terms of developing themselves spiritually, it can also, I just think it doesn't always have to be negative. And like I said, I do understand the operative being overzealous, but how do you balance being a light if we're supposed to be a light? And I'm driving a hoopty and you driving something. It's like, okay, can I believe God for that?
I think understanding both sides of that and embracing the truth of that she just said. I don't put a list out because of that. Okay, even though I said I should, because I'm saying no. When 70% give nothing, it would be. And then they ask questions. When we gonna do this? I said, well, now, you know what I mean? It's like when you order the pizza in the house, and the one who didn't order didn't pay anything. And everybody know this is going to be the one person that want to be first in line. And now you call them out, Pat. I think you call them out. You call them out. How you going to be first? You get in the back of the line. You didn't get nothing the last 3 times we had pizza. And then you go for leftovers. You want to take a big box home. Right? Right? So I'm saying there's a point where, okay, a person is, is in need of inspiration, but then also privacy. I'll say I'm gonna give for a reason, because I know, like I said it last week, I said, okay, I'll show you how it works. I got up and I said, all right, last year we sponsored the camp, $43,000, 45 last year, 43 this year, and I said we paid $19,000 to subsidize the camp, and I said I want to do better this year. I want you all to help me. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to give $1,000. And I said, you know who you are, if you're able. I'm not talking to everybody. You and me, and you can do this. Join me. 17 people do it. The 17,000 this year, we get it done. God bless you. Well, I'm down now. I only got 10. I'm at 10,000 subsidy so far. So I believe that by Sunday, God will begin to continue to speak. And some people will give, and maybe we'll just knock it all the way out. Here's why I'm saying that. I have to say something to create some kind of incentive, but I have to lead the way. I have to be a giver. When I first came to the church years ago, Town gave me some advice. He said, well, I said, start my tithe. So they said, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just tell the church that they're gonna pay you $50,000, let them pay you $40,000, and you don't have to, then you can get church extra money, but you have to pay tax on that $10,000. Right? So I said, that's a great idea. No, it's a dumb idea. Let me tell you why. Here's why. Because when you give $40,000 to me, right, and I let you keep $10,000 as salary as a gift, where on the record does it say I gave anything? So you know what I did? I went in and gave $10,000 more. So now I'm double tithing. God didn't tell me to do that. That's bad math. I didn't have to do that. And I won't tell you how long I did it. I'll keep it to myself. But here's the deal. I end up learning that, and I understood early, you have to lead the way. Everybody can't. I give more today, it's true, because of friends. My friends have inspired me to be a giver. You're going to read our next book by one of my friends, Robert Morris. We're going to read Blessed Life next. And one of the things that I was with him just the other day, he pastors a Gateway Church. He's a good friend of mine, for real. We were just he and Diane and I, his wife, all hanging out in Dallas. And Robert is amazing. He's hilarious. The most successful church probably in America economically. Phenomenal church. But what's interesting is all the things that I have seen people do that were friends of mine have inspired me. They inspired me to dress better. I got friends, you can't wear that. Where you gonna wear that? You need to get your haircut, bro. You can't come looking like that any old kind of way. They inspire you, and I think that you need that. But yet, there's also a danger of becoming Pharisaical. As Pat said, here's why Pat felt that way, because everybody else wasn't doing it. You were shocked that you could step in, and now you give them more than the pastor problem. Your name on the top of the list. You know what I'm saying? And so I would be uncomfortable, personally, with broadcasting all I give. I do think it's inspirational, but I do think it's important sometime to do it. So sometimes you hear me say it. I probably will not ask you to give something without me saying what I'm giving. And I wouldn't be offended if you asked me, so what are you going to give to that? I'll probably tell you, because I understand who I am. I understand the power, the role I play. But I think the trick is to not make people who don't have it feel dragged. You see what I'm saying? Making sure that everybody feels their part. But here's the problem. With our church is different now. We got 30% of you that tithe, we believe. That's 3 times better than most churches. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You clapping slow. Why you clap? Is that a happy part? Yeah, I thought.
And the summertime is turned off. I had an experience yesterday where these churches get at
Let
the
me give you the mic.
stoplights.
They get go
And
ahead.
they have buckets at the stop. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's this time of year now for camps and activities for the kids. And you at a stoplight and somebody walks up and they got a church T-shirt on and a bucket, and they want you to donate for their, church mission or something.
Write that down for us. Write that down. You got to get us some.
And
we got the buckets already. Go ahead.
And I feel some kind of way. You go in Walmart, they have a table right there at Walmart, and they want you to give some, donation to their church. And I get kind of arrogant about it, like, oh, you don't teach tithing at your church.
But you know what? They don't, because the people won't tolerate it. You have a 5-minute conversation. Remember I told you 5 minutes. You don't have long now. Think about how you respond when the pastor about money. There's a sense of, okay, that's enough. We got you. Because if you're a giver, you don't want to hear it because you're already going to give. But we're trying to talk to that 70 to 80 to 90% of the people in the room who are not giving anything. It's Beverly?
Could it be that in my church, I have all welfare, minimum wage, unemployed people, and they do tithe from what they have, but it's not enough to do what we need to do?
I can say that could be true, but statistically, that's not true. No matter whether they are high end, low end, if 90% don't give anything, 70% give nothing. There are situations. I know when I was in LA, the English side of the church, it's public knowledge, I have to hide from it, took in $9 million. They had 3,000 English. On the Spanish side, we had 8,000 Spanish, and it was 4 million. Do the math. That is about economic differences. But the problem comes in when you look at a church that most church people, let me just say it this way, they do not have a commitment to giving. They talk about it. But if you all have to go get your giving statements and ask yourself, is this my best? $50. I mean, when I tell you, if I publicize this, you'd be surprised. It's amazing. It's jaw dropping. It's one of the things that's pride and grease pastors and has, because you can't, like Pat said, you really can't do it everywhere like that where you publicize it, but it's just you and it's the people. Then they come back and add, this is the truth. I don't mean any harm when I say this. Don't take this wrong. Don't take this wrong. Don't take this wrong. But Ms. Bishop, you can verify, and you can too. The people who ask for help the most, 95% of them give nothing. And they'll ask you for a little bit of money. They ask you to pay all their rent. They ask you for lots of money. And then tell you, Jesus told them to come to church. Now, I'm not against helping people. I don't say that because we help people. I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm not. I'm just making a point. What happens is you create a culture where they have all these excuses for not giving. So I said all that to say the danger, the balance, in staying in line with our book here. That's okay. That's right. No beer belly. Yeah. That's a word right there. That's a word. That's a word. I'm working now, Jesus. Come on. I can drink beer. All right. But the point is, there is a way we've got to approach it and not be pharisaical, not be judgmental. But you have to be honest. So what's hard for me, man? Talk about what's hard for me. Why would this be hard? What would be difficult for me in this? Balance.
You don't want to sound like you're begging.
recognizing that you're able to do it, and there are other people who are not recognizing that you're able to do it, and there are other people who are not able to do it.
But what's emotionally
But-
difficult for me? What would be emotionally difficult for me? I have
Right.
to serve whether people give or not.
Right.
And what were you going to say back there?
To make not people feel bad because they can't.
Right. They may
Yeah.
not people not feel bad, but yet I still got to have a camp.
Right.
Right. So I've got to press past all that. Where we at? Over here? Yes. What's difficult?
Well, you still have to talk about the money. You still have to raise funds. I mean, so it's difficult to talk about it if not, without anybody thinking that you are, not to say picking on them, but you're making them feel bad.
Right. So there's something to me that's really important, and I just want we got to get past this, but you see how not being pharisaical, not being critical, but yet you got to get past it and find a way to move forward. Because here's what happens: we never get out of debt. We then leave the next generation in bondage. We never have resources. We can never do anything. All we can do is talk about it. And I just don't want that to be our future. So having said that, let's move on and get through this book. Here we go. So, and I think the title is appropriate. You accidentally become pharisaical without meaning it. By doing the thing, the Pat mentioning the money and labeling it, you accidentally become. And then sometimes you don't take into account, as you mentioned, people that don't have. And I think some churches overshoot the boundary. I'm get off of and make a point. I don't believe tithing was ever designed to carry a mortgage. I don't think that was ever designed for that. I think it can. We spend 8% of our income on mortgage debt. I think that's a good number. Average church is spending 25 to 30%. That's too much. 45%, 50% for staff. See, think about it. Hire 10 people, pay them your salary. How much money you need? You see what I'm saying? 5 people, pay them your salary. I mean, it's really expensive. Benefits, healthcare, all the things you want. So when you look at it that way and you think about it, it's impossible for you to advance people. It's impossible to move the church forward if you don't move forward. And so the balance between becoming judgmental and pharisaical and unfair is really easy. I got to get off this. I got to move on because I'm getting stuck here. I love it, but move on. All right. Yes. What's the question? Sure. All right. Pass the mic. Come on. One more. Since this is what you want, we'll do. Come on. What you want? What you got?
What's the difference between having an opinion and being judgmental and pharisaical?
I think he deals with that in the book. I think one of the things is if it's an opinion that's unfair and biased. If it's a true judgment, you cannot sing. That's not a judge, it's the truth. Don't be the facts. You know what I'm saying? So I think a person has to be clear. And sometimes I think the Pharisees were not always fair. Their judgments of people were not always fair. And that was the part, that's what makes the book and the principle so important. Okay. All right, let's move on. So again, I want to get to the parts where you say it's important. So I need you to, we've gone so long here. We had a good time, but when comparison becomes arrogance, we talked about that a little bit here. Fitting the herd becomes more important than expanding the kingdom. Legalism, when sacrificing crowds out mercy. Online, Yolanda talked about that. She said, I think the death of mercy. Lita Sam said that. I like when he talked about mercy versus sacrifice, that you care more for people and you allow mercy to become the driving force. I love that, Sister Sam. Thank you so much. Is anybody else online? I think that's it. That's all that they said so far. That's it. Okay, great. All right, now in the room, because if I start, since we had such a party here, I want you to tell me what parts of the book, if you got a quote or something that spoke to you, let's hear about your quote first. We got a hand over here. There you go. She's coming your way. Take that and let's hear what you have to say.
The Bible leaves a lot of questions unanswered. It wasn't written to answer everything that I might want to know about God, the universe, or the unseen realm. Some things are simply beyond my comprehension, unimportant, or none of my business.
Whenever you make the Bible a book, that's supposed to answer every question, you misuse the Bible. It's not designed to be a science book. It's not designed to be a medical book. It's not designed for that. If you take the Bible, you can draw principles from it, but you cannot find all the answers to every single question.
But we're told that, though.
We're told that.
We're told that.
Yeah,
And
we're
that's
told
why
that. Yeah.
that quote resonated with me, because we're told everything you need to know is in the Bible. And when I read that, it was like, wow, that was thought provoking.
It was, and it's a very in a profound section where it talks about the misuse of the Bible in the Scripture, and I think a lot of people misunderstand it. One of the things that I enjoyed about my academic life is early on they challenged everything I believed, and there was one simple question: where is that in the Bible? Prove it, prove it, prove it. Say it's proved. Don't just tell us what you think. Prove it, prove it. If you write a paper and you give your opinion, they say no, no, no. God didn't tell you that. You couldn't even say God told you anything. That was not allowed. And I think what's important is, and this is one of the great criticisms of the charismatic Pentecostal movement by Baptists, that we are driven by feelings, by impressions. Our own feelings, our own experience becomes the method, the definition for God. And danger in that is you start, and then you preach a lot of topical sermons that are not theologically based. In other words, you're not taking me through a Bible principle. You're taking me through your own experience. I was praying and God spoke to me. God gave me a word. Now here's what God told me to tell you. And it's all my own. I saw a bird flying and God said that bird is a symbol of. And you start making all this stuff up and you start going down this road. And it really sounds great. And maybe I can get a principle out of it here or there, but it's not Bible teaching. And I think the danger is it can go too far. So yeah, what's that? Somebody else, a part that you like. If you're online, same thing. Write down what you liked and I want to talk about it. Go ahead. Anybody else? Just go ahead. I need to hear you. They want to hear you online. That's why.
With the pride and the log eye disease, how we always
the log eye disease, yes.
Yeah. It's easy to, tell what you think other people doing when you're doing the same thing and not seeing yourself and what you're saying others are, and also comparing one another.
The log eye disease was well said in the book. I liked when he talked about that you can have this idea that you look at somebody else, see your eye, but not the big log in your own eye. Very well said. I like that idea. It's now we do that a lot in church. What don't we say about ourselves? I mean, and what is it that religious people tend not to see about themselves? Their own sins. What else? Their arrogance. Right. And so I think it's a wonderful concept. Hey, I need to look at myself. So if I look at myself, and I love the idea when he talks about the mirror, right? Right. Instead of the binoculars. That when you have a mirror, you're looking at yourself. Binocular, you spend all your time instead of looking in the mirror, you're looking at other people. Now I got some binoculars. I got some foxes in my backyard. And they were out there yesterday, and my grandbaby was at the house. She named them Foxy and Loxy. And so when Foxy and Loxy started jumping and running, Foxy, they can jump high. I mean, he jumped over that fence like he wasn't even trying. And so my neighbor has a fence, and so he jumped the neighbor's fence and was going to jump into our yard next. And Diane started beating on the window, telling the fox to go away. And we trying to tell her to stop doing that, let the fox run, and she's having it's just amazing. So, but I pulled out some binoculars, and Melanie had never used them. So it's funny to see her trying to zoom in to see them. So when I read that in the book, I thought it was phenomenal. Some people spend a lot of time looking at other people. Let me ask you a question. When you hear most sermons, what are the sermons about? Binoculars or mirror? Binoculars. They're training you to always look for what's wrong with someone else. And they start naming, and then the people who, when they're hearing the sermon, I love this part, they're saying, say it now. I don't have that problem. Say it now. I'm fine. And they say, yeah, all y'all need to hear this word. Everybody need to hear this.
How do you balance speaking to things that we should speak to when the epistles, some of them were addressing issues that were going on in the church. So can you speak to that?
I think it's all about accent marks. It's where I put the accent mark. For example, I can do it this way. Some of you in here, I know you're sleeping around. I can tell. See now, that's one way. Or I can say, I know that all of us have had intimate challenges. We've all struggled. Got my mirror up. It's how Daniel presented it when he prayed, Lord, I pray for my sins. It's how you come at it. And so if you're an insecure person, you tend to project upon people. And you tend to emphasize I love the way he talks about this too. He talks about how you have to take somebody, belittle somebody, and elevate yourself. That's what the problem with the Pharisees were. They started out teaching the word, but then they became an organization that focused on rules and regulations. And it's all about letting people know holiness to hell, right or wrong, up or down, save or unsaved. It's all difficult. So that translates into, what's interesting is, I'm going to take you beyond the book for a minute, that translates into our politics. Tell me how so. How could this translate to our politics?
Because I'm right based on my party.
Right, based on my party, right? So what are the elements, though, having read the book for a minute, what are the elements in Christian thinking, based on what you read in the book, that make it vulnerable to believing what Sheila just said, that your views are right? You surround yourself with people who think like you think, right? And so your theology is right. Yeah. Exclusivity. Very good in the book too. It talks about exclusivity. So the idea that we are exclusively right. So now people have criticized me a little bit because I don't pick a party and I don't endorse a candidate. Now, why don't I do that? You and God?
You got members that on both sides.
Members of both.
I think that we're 100% Democrat, but I tell you we're not.
Yeah. Right.
And just because we're black, that we are Democrat, we are not.
Okay. Yes.
Propensity for you to influence your
Yes.
members.
The propensity for me to influence my members. Okay.
Use your leadership.
Because of my leadership. Okay. Yes. Over here.
I've had it said to me, you're Christian and you're not a Republican. I mean, that kind of thing, where you're Christian, so you'll have to be a Republican,
Right.
I just said it because.
See, to me, that's the other side of it. You'll come from.
So you say,
You said that if you're not black,
you're not
if you're not Democrat, if you didn't vote for him, you're not. That's what we don't. That's the rub that I have with both sides of that.
Let me, I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know if you heard all that just now. They were saying that the president said if you're black, you should vote for him, or if you didn't vote for him, not black, whatever. Then you said
church and state is supposed to be separate. It's always supposed to be separate. You can't. It's not supposed to be able to impose religious views on you under a power. That's the whole point of being free in America. Especially in the political world of presidents, stuff like that. When you go to court, things of that nature, we can't say that because they're Muslim or because they're whatever that they don't have equal rights. And when they start intermingling church and state, then that's when we start having all type of issues. Like you're supposed to be black because you're Democrat, and we voted Democratic for the last 80 years. That means we're gonna vote Democrat, even though it's not the best thing, or we're gonna vote Republican, even though it's not the best thing. We have to separate that at all times and start looking at people based on what the views were 50, 60 years ago.
You want to hear my viewpoints? Yes. Yes.
I think some of it is taken outside of politics or outside of religion.
Come on. I'm sorry. It's okay.
I said just to take it outside of politics and or religion or whatever. I think we created a social construct where I was raised in a small town, literally divided by a railroad track. So it's like you from this side of the track, you're from this side of the track. We've got, when we look back at history, we have this class and caste system. So it's always whoever has the defined upper hand or the perceived upper hand that we start creating all of this. So I think it is pervasive.
Let me say this. Let me give you an opinion. I like William Sam said these words: the danger of adding to God's word, chapter 11, profound. Now, let me say this. That's true. What we have done, well, or not, is we forgot our assignment. Here's my assignment. I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. By spiritual assignment. That's what I'm saying. By spiritual assignment. Okay. My assignment is to tell the truth. And if a person's not telling the truth, it's my assignment to say that's not the truth. Okay. Now I'm going to name call briefly for a second point. Okay. Whatever Joe Biden said that was not fair or true or accurate, say it. Fair? Whatever Trump said or did that was not fair or true, say it. Weigh out what you think is the truth and make you vote. Okay. Now, I have my own opinion. I have my own views. I have people I can quote. I ain't quote nobody today. Okay. I'm gonna say this though. One of the things about the message in the book that speaks to me the most, the Pharisees were respected, but they lost their assignment. Now, people can argue about the separation of church and state, whether that's constitutional or not. That's the argument that I live to argue about. What I say is, I, as a person, as an individual, I have a right to say what I feel, but when I become legally Pharisaical, when I'm dragging people with me, and I don't understand where I'm dragging them. Give an example. I was in, I mentioned church the other day. One of the questions I was asked this past week, they said, "Oh, Pastor Rick, do you believe that our country was founded on Christian principles, and was it a Christian nation?" And I said, well, we were owned by Thomas Spalding from Sapelo Island, a U.S. Congressman. And our family didn't think that was very Christian. And they all got quiet. I said, no, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying that's what happened. And as Isabel Wilkerson said in the book, Cat, we all live in an American house. It's got holes in the walls, and we need to do something about fixing those holes. So I want to be fair about both sides. Here's what I think. I'm going to be real direct for a minute. If you like Trump, tell the truth. Don't say this, this, and this. Don't do this, this, and that. If you like Biden, tell him the same truth. This, that, whatever. Don't get petty and get lost in stuff that don't make sense. Focus on what you're saying, how you're acting, how you're living, what you're doing. I ain't saying anybody's making a point. Christians, that's your assignment. You're the salt of the earth. It is a mistake. Now, I'm way out the river. It's a mistake. Have a faith that your religious party is the holiest one. Now, I don't care which one you are. You make a huge mistake because there's sinners on both sides of the aisle. Both sides go to jail, and one more than the other. But so far, it always can change. I mean, let me tell you. You know, I think when you understand history, let me just get all off this. You know, the Democrats were the ones who ran slavery. You understand that, right? And then the Republicans came and switched it, Abraham Lincoln, and freed everybody. And then they turned around and let them re-enslave us with Jim Crow. You understand? So, I mean, I'm just saying, everybody's messed up. So when they ask me a question, Pastor, what you think about? Matter of fact, I'm doing another one on Wednesday. And what's funny, the one I'm doing on Wednesdays with the group from Gettysburg. That's right. See? That's right. Gettysburg. The Gettysburg, man. I mean, you know, I mean, we had the biggest fight in the Civil War. I mean, 5,000 people died. But at the end of the day, What I like is the ability to speak into arenas and to speak to people and not be pharisaical and not come off like I know everything. What I think we need is honest communication. And here's what I tell my friends. I got friends who are true Trump supporters. I mean, they true blue, stand up and sing his name off. And I'll say to them privately, I said, now let me ask you a question. I said, what is your assignment? Influence. If you influence, what are you saying? I said, what we saying? Okay. You listen to you? On the other side, same thing. Biden, okay, what's your assignment? What is he listening to? Our job is to be more referees, calling it like we see it, and telling the truth, not being pharisaical, not being arrogant. Now this is to me the most interesting part. One of the problems with our way of thinking and processing is we are vulnerable to this spirit of pharisaicalness. We are vulnerable to thinking we know, and we are driven sometimes by the assumption that grace and forgiveness is what works in every case. That all you need to do is pray about it. I know Putin's knocking down your buildings, but just pray for him that God's going to change his heart. No, you got to shoot back. Sometimes time to cry, time to fight, time for war, time for peace. You know what I'm saying? If he start coming across the Savannah River, all y'all gonna say, don't pray for him. Don't pray for him. Don't pray for him. Don't pray for him. You know, time to shoot. It becomes very important. Exactly. All Second Amendment, all that becomes really important. And see, because you don't live there, you don't feel it, you don't see it. What I think the mistake we make is if we ignore what we see in our leaders. If we ignore, and I think the Christian church has done a disservice, evangelical church, whom I love and care about. I'll tell you a survey a guy told me, I didn't say this out loud, but I don't want to roll my body in here. He said, he stood up, he said, I am a white evangelical. He said in the 1990s, there was a survey taken that said 37% of Americans felt moral and ethical value. Would you serve if you were not morally, ethically valid? In other words, could you be moral? 37% said yes, you can serve. Your morality doesn't matter. He said the new survey says 87% said it doesn't matter. That's what he said. When I heard that, that's a disservice to any candidate. We as Christians should be the main ones saying, and maybe we can help them. I love 1 Corinthians 7. Maybe you can win somebody. Maybe you can win them. Maybe the tide could be different. Maybe the whole conversation could be different. Maybe we can silence the news people on both sides. Maybe we can make everybody realize this don't pay. All we want to know is the fact. All I want you to do is your job. I don't want you to fight each other. I don't want to see about your fights every day. I don't want to see all this pettiness. We demand that this is our assignment as Christians, to be a light in the world, be light in the world. And therefore, we need to hold up that light. You can choose who you want to vote for. I'm just simply making a point that if you're going to be with somebody, tell them the truth. And if you're going to support somebody, tell them the truth. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. And if they're what? Right, they're right. And you go item by item, point by point, and your goal is to be fair. And I think I have friends on all sides of the river. And it's so funny, when Obama won, I lost some members, but they said I wasn't loud enough about Obama. That's true. I lost some people in our church. They left because he didn't Obama enough. And then I was pastoring at the same time in LA, and they said I wasn't for the other guy enough. And so some of them left that church. I was losing on both coasts. I said, well, Lord, I'm condemned if I do. I was trying to stand in the middle, and then it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I said. And so I said, well, go find you another church that does what you want. Find you a Baptist church or a Democratic church or a Republican church. And I'm telling you, if you want to know the truth, I have seen more people, pastors have come to me, white pastors have come to me especially, and said they have left in droves to find a church that had their political persuasion. I think this is a danger to our assignment. and it becomes a bit Pharisaical. If you listen to us talk, we sound more like this book than we should. So I've said a lot, jumped in the river here further than I wanted to. Y'all dragged me there. I ain't sorry. I hope it helped. Did you enjoy today's conversation? Yes, hope you did. Now, let me say this. This is going to be our new book. Our new book is called The Blessed Life by my good friend. And I don't say that he is. He's a good friend. And Robert Morrison is amazing. He is pastor of Gateway Church. And I'm going to read a quick quote from what he said. He said, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong book. See, I got to be careful here. You go, Blessed Life. I'm about to read again the wrong book to you. I'm excited about this book because this book is I'm gonna use this book in both my session on finances and my session on the prosperity team and this group. So this is going to be our book for the next quarter, and it's called The Blessed Life. And here's what he says: no one is a natural born giver. We are all born takers. Can you tell from your personal experience? There is no greater adventure on earth than simply living the life of generosity and abundance that is available to all of us, God's people. But that's so few to ever dare to live. All I can tell you is generosity is a gift, and we're going to be generous right now. It's the birthday of somebody in here, Miss Beverly. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, come there, Beverly. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Let me see my phone. Would you like to say anything here? Say anything?
I can't believe I lived this long. I really can't. Over my life, I've been sick a lot. I'm still here.
Yeah.
73, big number. When I was 38 years old, they gave me a 50-50 chance to live. I can't believe it. So this week, I got a chance to spend the week with my great-grandbaby. Who would believe I'd lived this long? I thank God for it.
Come on. All right. Ms. Beverly's going to cut this cake, and then we're going to let y'all watch it from home, and then let y'all eat something. Go ahead, Ms. Beverly. There she goes. 73. You can still see. And cut a cake.
Have the use and activity of
That's what they say.
the sheet I woke up was not my
73 and gets up 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, fitness center.
Pretty good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev. Happy birthday. Give her a big hand again, please. Thank you. So let me say this. Thank you for being with us today online. I appreciate it. You know, we try to keep our time tight. I want you to think about Blessed Life by Robert Morris. It's a good book, Unlocking the Rewards of Generous Living. It is absolutely crucial, if you're going to succeed, that you understand the power of generosity. Learning how to give. Most people never tithe. They never give 10%. Most people never, and I don't know, put tithing on one side for a minute. Most people basically live for themselves. If you're going to be effective in the world, you've got to think beyond yourself. Now, has this reading been good for you? Have you enjoyed the reading? What do you like about it? Tell me what you like before we leave. What do you like? Make you look in the mirror. Okay, somebody else, what do you like about it?
You mean the book club in
The
general?
book club in general, yes. The book club in general. Meeting with people and being
The understanding more about,
understanding things about the Lord in the book and all that. Okay, somebody else. What do you like about this? Yes. Fortune to read. That's right. Yes. Exploring thoughts that are not yours. All right, somebody else? What do you like? Makes you examine yourself. Okay, what about you? Makes you think different. Mm-hmm. Think another way. Yes. Yes. Information. So they withhold information, but you like the fact that we're sharing information. That's great. Thanks for the enlightenment, Reed. Sam said, thank you so much for all of your participation online. If you have questions you did not get a chance to answer, always email me at pastor@overcomingbyfaith.org. I think that's all. Thanks for the enlightenment. That's all of it. Yolanda Best allows me to self-reflect. Yolanda Best said, thank you, Yolanda. I thank you again. We're going to have some cake. Y'all have some cake. And Beverly's going to have some cake. Y'all can work it out. Father, we thank you for this time. Look forward to gathering again. When are we gathering again? We're gathering again. Second Saturday in August. So, Father, I thank you for this summer read. I pray your grace and blessing upon it. In Jesus' name, everybody say amen. God bless y'all. See you later. Bye-bye. Take care, folks. Now, my book for the prosperity team, if you're on that, that's going to be next month, and we'll tell you when. I forgot when. Probably the first Saturday and Wednesday. We'll let you know. Bye-bye. Take care.